Alright, now that we have our introduction paragraph written, and more importantly, our thesis statement written clearly, with two different ideas, one of them being that Berry characterizes scientific research as mentally draining, as he does here, I'm ready to write my body paragraphs. So body paragraph number 1 is going to be about this idea of scientific research being mentally draining. So that needs to be stated in my first sentence, along with the rhetorical choices that I see Berry making in the paragraphs I'm about to talk about. And as I already said on my T-chart, rhetorical choice is him defining or describing a scientist, and specifically that scientist's traits. So our first sentence of body paragraph 1 should look something like this. In paragraphs 2 and 3, Berry gives a detailed description of scientists in order to characterize scientific research as mentally exhausting. Now notice the words "in order to" are different than the words "so that." Sometimes "in order to" is just a better phrase to use to transition. So now that we've stated this first claim and we have an idea, we need to make sure that we give textual evidence of the detailed description, creating a characterization of scientific research as mentally exhausting. And so to do that, we of course need to make sure that we go back into the text and find textual evidence from there. We already know that this quote from paragraph 2 is one of the quotes that we want to use. Now, at the same time, we want to make sure that we show whoever's reading our essay that we understand this entire paragraph, not just where we're getting this quote from. We don't want to just throw this quote in its own sentence and say this, because then we're not showing that we understand what this argument even is and what this writer's even saying. And we can't be convincing that way. We can't persuade anyone of anything in that way. So, before we write our next sentence, let's make sure we summarize this paragraph. We say, in this paragraph, Berry's describing a scientist's traits. And then, after we summarize it, we give the quote we want to give with these words. So, our next sentence should look something like this. Berry describes the traits of a scientist by saying that one requires not only intelligence, curiosity, but passion, patience, creativity, and self-sufficiency. So we have our quote here, but before that, we have the short summary of paragraph 2. Again, to show our readers that we know what this paragraph is about. Now our job is to look at this quote